Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sam, United People's TV. Let's kick off the international break. Yes, I know you're all going to be upset about it. Yeah, me too. But we're going to try our best to cover everything like we always do on United People's TV. But today's show, we're going to run through the full Premier League weekend results. We'll speak about United's draw with Spurs. Amorim's comments about the fact that he wants his players to be more brave. We're going to speak about United in first halves versus second halves. Casemiro, Ugarte, Sesko's injury, De Ligt and Bumo, January transfer window, loan roundup. Loads going on here. And Siegs, yeah, I am bang on time today. Actually started. Bang on. Go with me. Feeling in a chipper mood today. How's everyone feeling this Monday? Have a good weekend? What did you get up to? Alex, yeah, it's a nice shirt, this one. I like it. Let me say hello to everybody, and let's get on with today's show. So I've done a match reaction, did what we learned video yesterday. Today we'll run through it in a little bit more detail. Alex and Carl, good morning to you. JC, you're there as well, and Steph. Josh, how you doing, buddy? What members have we got? We've got Tony, we've got Lyle, we've got John and Craig Knowles. Got Liam, got Anders El Capitano, and some non-members. Nars, we've got Poz. Used to live with a bloke called Lars at uni. Is it you? Probably isn't. He was annoying. Chris, Saeed, Vince, Smee, and Andrew. Scott, dying with a flu. Flu? Hangover? We'll see. Charlie's saying, I think I'm the only one who is happy we stole a point from Spurs. I mean, yeah. You're going to be the only one who describes it like that. Stealing a point, mate. Anyway, we'll run through the game. If you so wish, the latest episode of the podcast is out now on Spotify and Apple. Me, Dan, and Nick, we run through the game. Nick went to the game, had to sit in the Spurs end. Has anyone ever done that? You think you're going to enjoy it, but I think it's really quite crap. Going to a football game and sitting with the wrong fans. I've only done it once. It was when United played Newcastle. Drove the whole way up there with my mate. And then sat underneath the away end in the Newcastle fans. And we won 3-0. It's like... It's fun, but it's not fun. You've got to sit there just something. Even if you win 6-2, you've got to sit there and just I'm not going to celebrate. So it's fun if you get to watch them, but it's a bit annoying that you have to be there slyly, quietly, not doing much. Anyway, if you want to, the podcast is out on Spotify and Apple, and tonight at around about 7 p.m. or 8 p.m, I'll release the video on YouTube. If you so wish. Gungshi, good morning to you, my man. How was your weekend? How is Taiwan kicking these days? How is Taiwan kicking? Bit of a random sentence. But thank you very much, as always. Can I say a big announcement coming up this week around the community roles? I'll tell you a little bit more probably tomorrow. But I'm excited for it, and we're finally heading in the right direction. Stu, you're saying you did it with PSV United. PSV away was actually my first ever away game. And that was the game where Luke Shaw broke his leg. I remember the best part about that game was they played Neil Diamond at half-time. Yeah, that's how bad that game was. I don't even like that Neil Diamond song. And JC, good morning to you as well. I'll tell you what, look. Let's speak about the full weekend's results. What's your take on the Premier League this weekend? Obviously, we'll start with United and we'll focus on United. But I'm still looking on the positive side of all of this. And I know that's kind of my natural position to do that. Glass half full sort of person. But I really do. I'm frustrated. That's the thing that we spoke about in the podcast. It's almost confusing. Because there's one part of you that knows that we're undefeated in 5. And you're happy about it because you've stopped. The way I described it in the pod is you're kind of stopping a flood. So you're making loads of repairs at the bottom of your house whilst trying to renovate the top as well. So you're trying to make United win all the games and get back up there towards the top 4, because that's our ambition as a football club and what it should be. Well, not top 4, but winning all the pots is our ambition. But at the same time, we're kind of stopping the rot. Anyway, let's run through the weekend's results. We'll speak about the game in a bit more detail. Everton beating Fulham 2-0. Is it Everton we got next? Was it West Ham? I think it might be Everton. West Ham beating Burnley. Sunderland. That one made me laugh. That made me laugh. I was like, thank you very much, Sunderland. At least it's not United only drawing 2-2. Chelsea. Let's not speak about that. Garnacho got 2 assists. Arsenal. Villa spanking Bournemouth, by the way. Didn't actually see that was 4-0. Newcastle went 1-0 up, didn't they? Then lost 3-1 to Brentford. Unlucky. Palace and Brighton. Boring. Forest and Leeds. I'll tell you what. Right? Mate. They got absolutely whooped. Like whoopity whooped. Shame. Real shame. I mean, they are in absolute full-blown crisis. It really is quite incredible. It does go to show you, like, I can't remember who we said this about last season, but there was somebody that we said, like, oh, they've won the transfer window. And then the season starts and you're thinking, huh? Well, that's not how I was expecting that to go. It's exactly the same with Liverpool. You look at them and you say, they won that transfer window. And now you look at them going, somehow you made yourself a worse team, lads. It's quite impressive, really. But all in all, that's where it's left the table right now. So we're what? 4 points off second. It's still mad how close this league is currently. So we go over here. So we've got second on 22 points. Well, you got 6 points between 12th and 2nd currently in the league. All to play for. And I will run through who United are playing in our next 10 games a little bit later in the show. But look at all the teams we have played. We've played Arsenal. We've played City. We've played Chelsea. We've played Sunderland. We've played Spurs. We've played Villa. And so the only team we haven't played is Villa, above us in the table. And we play Liverpool as well. So the only team outside in the top 8 that we haven't played is Villa. And we're 4 points off top. It is a good season for Manchester United to still be in this, I call it the stuttering phase. Because we are stuttering. We're undefeated in 5. We won 3 on the spin. But then in these last 2 games, and let's speak about it now. Let's run through the game. Let's run through Amorim's post-match comments. I wouldn't say it was I kind of did a little bit. I know it wasn't a carbon copy in the last 2 games, but there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of similarities in what we've done in these last 2 games, isn't there? 1-0 up at half-time, away at Forest and Spurs, and we came away with 2 points. 1-0 up at half-time in both games, and at Forest we conceded 2 goals within the first 5 minutes of the second half starting, and Spurs, as the game went on, we then conceded 2 goals within 7 minutes against Spurs. I said we're 6 points off top. No, so I said we're 6 points off second, not 6 points off top. Anyway, it's minor. So what's your overall takeaway from that Spurs game? Like somebody, I don't know who it was it Charlie down there saying, oh, you thought that United robbed a point? I was like, bro, that's just straight up wrong. That game was exactly what I thought it would be at Spurs' home stadium. Exactly. There were boos at half-time. As soon as any of their players even played the ball bloody backwards, you heard the sort of, And United, well, we took advantage of it by going 1-0 up, but we should have taken more advantage of it. If we're gonna jump into a straight positive here, we've got to speak about Mbeumo. I mean, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I want to? That goal looks so effortless, man. Really quite well worked. United winning the ball in the opposition's box by pressing, what we did against Brighton as well. And Ahmad just floating a lovely ball in. And Mbeumo was like, boom, didn't even move his body. He just kind of stood there and just went. So what's that? 4 goals in his last 5 games. Player of the month in October. I think it was Owen Hargreaves after the game saying he reminds him of Salah. I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk about that because I don't want to sort of bring in those comparisons. But he's an elite level footballer, and he reached. I actually think I said this before the game as well, that it's reached a point already with Mbeumo where I'm feeling like he's going to score or assist in pretty much every game. That's how it feels with Mbeumo. Like I've got that much confidence in him already. Love the bloke. However, let's speak about the frustrations of that game too. And this is Ruben Amorim speaking after the game. It's kind of saying what we were all thinking, really. And I think this is an important thing, right? I mean, I probably will make that Salah comparison video if it continues in this sort of vein. Let's be honest. But a question I had in my mind, right, is what's going on in that halftime team talk? Is Ruben Amorim taking these players aside and say, look, lads, right, okay, so we're 1-0 up here, away at Forest or away at Spurs, 1-0 up here, let's make sure you shore up that defence, make sure we, don't concede, just stay strong, stay focused, all that jazz. Is he asking this team to drop deeper, to sit tighter, to sit more compact and try and hold on to the lead? No. No's the answer, right? And here's why.
We were in control, especially in the first half. The second half, we dropped a little bit because we felt that we were so comfortable in the game, and we were thinking that we are in control of the game. Let's see the game finish. But we need to do the opposite. We need to feel the environment. We need to feel that the opponent is nervous and to kill the game and not to wait for the end of the game. That is one thing.
So Ruben Amorim there speaking after the game. There's a little bit more detail because I know the volume on that wasn't great. He does not want this team to sit back after going 1-0 up. He wants this team to be braver. He wants this team to kill the opposition. And that game was 100% 2 points dropped. If I'm looking at the Forest game, again, it's a game of opinions, right? It's a game of opinions. I look at that Forest game and I was worried going into it. It's Sean Dyche's first game as Forest manager at home. We know what's going to happen here. I didn't expect United to go in 1-0 up at half-time and then be 2-1 down within 5 minutes at the start of the second half and for everybody to be asleep. No. But we came back in that game. We scored the equaliser and we would have had the winner if it wasn't for Murillo clearing it off the line. I actually thought that was a pretty decent point overall, that one. But this Spurs game, mate, that game was there for the taking. Because of that environment, because of that Spurs stadium. They were booing at half-time. They didn't have a shot on target until the 55th, 56th minute. And I think that's why I'm annoyed. And actually going into this a little bit more, I'll show this to you. Alan, I want to say thank you very much, man. Jeez. Gifting 20. I can't wait. I'm not bored I'm saying this, but please do believe me. I can't wait until I'm giving more back for these memberships. I want every member of this channel to feel like, yeah, man, we get special extra stuff that no one does. And I don't think I do that enough just because I'm swamped with all the content we're doing. But bringing in some new peeps who you might recognise to help with the community this week. And this is a big part of it. So thank you very much. Amorim here a little bit more saying, I think we need to look at ourselves. If we have a little bit more bravery, we can kill this game. And I don't think this comment here isn't to dig out De Ligt, right? It's not to dig out De Ligt. But he's saying, look, he's doing really well, really aggressive. I think he has more quality with the ball than he is showing. He's still not wanting to make mistakes, which is smart. But when we reach the level that we want to reach, our 3 centre-backs will actually control the quality and the tempo of the game. So he wants De Ligt to be a bit more brave on the ball. We actually did it a couple of times. Nick mentioned this in the pod as well. There was one pass from Shaw in particular where he was playing wide centre-back, and you're thinking he's just going to play it wide to Dorgu, probably go to Shaw, back to Lamont, and then kind of go around the back. But instead it was one of those Martinez vertical passes straight through to Cunha. Broke through 2 lines. Cunha played a bounce pass back to Bruno. United moved up the pitch. It was a brave pass and the sort of pass that cuts teams open. Central progression. Amorim wants these players to be braver. And you're talking down there about a drop in quality. It's not just a drop in quality. And I will speak about the subs next, by the way. But it's not just a drop of quality. Look, Casemiro was on the pitch when we conceded 2 against Forest, all right? That's no drop in quality. That's just these players up there still, they haven't got a 90-minute game in them yet. Not yet. Bloody good in first halves. I'll run through those stats in a little bit more detail. Already did that yesterday. But it's just not quite there yet. That's what I mean. Like, that's why you can be positive about the progression that we've made in stopping the rot. Well, the standards were on the floor from last season. We were 15, let's be totally honest. It wasn't exactly hard. But we're undefeated in 5 now. But that's 2 games in a row now where United, we should have more than 2 points from these last 2 games. I'd say 4 out of 6 I'll be happy with. I'm going to go down and read some of your comments. Joe, you're saying, speaking of Martinez, will he be back after the break? We'll speak about Martinez a little bit later in the show. Carl basically saying De Ligt does not trust the midfield yet. I would say that might be part of it, but also at the same time, I think there's still a bit of a fear in these United players of, I don't want to be the one that makes the mistakes. Let me pass to somebody else. And sort of taking on that responsibility. I think that might be part of it as well. Someone down there, and you're saying, another one, we need depth, hence needing 3 summers to get to where we want to be. Derek saying, there you go, Sam said it perfectly. It's 2 different teams, and it is. It's frustrating, right? And to go into it in a little bit more detail, right? I'm kind of disagreeing with a lot of what Gary Neville has to say these days, but I mean, he's not wrong. I'm telling you, like, this is why I can't possibly be as angry as I'm seeing some United fans being. Mate, that top 4 is so absolutely up for grabs. If I'm looking at how... A bit random, this question, and we'll speak about it a little bit more later on in terms of what the next 10 fixtures are going. But what do you see the trends being with the teams up there? I think Arsenal will just continue doing what they're doing. I imagine they're probably going to be top at Christmas. But City, I think City are going to... I think they're going to be pretty grim to watch in the second half. Not in the second half of the season, just from this point on. I think they're just going to keep getting better and better. Chelsea, I imagine they'll probably stay thereabouts. Sunderland, I think a drop-off will come at some point. Spurs will be Spurs. Yeah, that's it. As if they've got any threat there. Arsenal and City, they're going to be up there for the top 2. That's going to be the top 2 at the end of the season. I don't know what order. Liverpool, Chelsea probably. But I'm telling you, everything else is up for grabs, man. Might kind of indicate as to why the January transfer window is so important for United. But I ran through this yesterday, right? Now, anybody who didn't watch the video, you won't know. Johnny's saying City rely on Haaland and Doku too much. Like, dude, I don't get why people say that. United rely on Mbeumo too much. Also, he's just our best player. Teams rely on their best players. That's what it is. That's why you sign the best players. Every team has got 1 or 2 players who's the cream of the crop. Best players in their team. I always find that quite strange. Anyway. Someone asking why wasn't Cobby on the bench. He got an injury in the build-up to training this week. It was only Jack Fletcher. Jeez, bloody, that would have been a... I mean, We did have a youth player in the matchday squad. Of course, every match day since 1937, I think. Nearly bloody lost it there. But I did this in the video yesterday. I want to ask you now. In first halves in the Premier League, just first halves only, if there was a table, and I've got it here, where do you think United would be? If the clock stopped at half-time in every game, for the first 11 games, where do you think United would be in the league? How good are United in first halves? How good have we been so far in the Premier League compared to everybody else? Answer in the comments. Well, some of you might watch a video yesterday, so you probably know. And yeah, mate, it proper makes me like, it makes you go like, bloody hell. Like, we're legit top. We're top of the league. Legitimately top of the league. If the whistle blows at half time. That's how good we've been in first halves. Like, I knew that we'd be good. But I didn't quite realise how good we'd been. Mad, isn't it? Now, to balance it out, and this is where the frustration comes in. Where do you think United have been if it's just the second halves? So we're top if it blows at half-time. But if it's just the second 45 minutes and there's a table for that, where do you think United sit in that one? Amorim's got to sort this out. He's absolutely got to sort this out. I knew that we were bad in second halves, but I didn't quite realise that we were this bad in second halves. 18th. We are top of the table for the first half, and we are relegated in the second half. That's the drop-off that Manchester United have got between the halves. It is Jekyll and Hyde. It is mad. And if I'm Ruben Amorim, that's what I'm focusing on during this international break. How do we sort this? And it's a question I want to ask you. Like, how do you sort this? Because there's a lot of you that will be coming at me saying, hold on, Sam, right? It's all just because of the subs. And Aiden, you're saying it's unnecessary subs. Like, I'm looking at that Spurs game, right? Sesko coming on for Mazraoui, who, by the way, looked very, very rusty. That was a perfect sub. Ahmad going right wing back. You could argue that should have been United's starting 11. That made sense. Yoro coming on for Maguire because Maguire was holding the back of his hamstring. I mean, it's an obvious sub. Makes sense. Mount coming on for Cunha. I think you could have argued for Mount to start that game. Again, makes sense. The only one that you've got any questions about, you could talk about Delo coming on for Dorgu. Dorgu was on a yellow, and he didn't want to go down to 10 men, although he bloody went down to 10 men anyway, obviously. But Ugarte coming on for Casemiro. Now, it turns out, so this is being reported from the Brazilian press. I didn't actually see anything. And has anybody read this anywhere? Like, did Casemiro also get taken? Has Amorim commented on it anywhere at all? Because, again, from a curiosity perspective, I want to argue this. I want to ask this. Why is it that Casemiro is regularly taken off? Is it just like a fitness thing? Because I'll be interested to see what he does this international break with Brazil, for example. Because the last one, he played both full 90 minutes twice, then came back, was in training a day earlier, actually, because he got given a day off, and so was Cunha. And he started. Did he play the full 90 at Anfield? I can't remember if he did. Like, Siegs is saying Ugarte was at fault for the goals. Like, I don't know how anybody's putting Ugarte out for the second goal. Like, really. Like, a ball comes in, Ugarte wins the header, gets pushed off balance, therefore he's too deep. And he tries to run back onside, but then Richarlison's there and it gets swept in. I don't really think that's got anything to do with Ugarte. However, I think you're probably looking at the only mistake that's been made in the transfer market under Ineos so far is the 40 mil spent on Ugarte. I wouldn't say it's a catastrophic failure in the way that some, like Anthony's a catastrophic failure. But I think it's a failure, all things considered. There's someone down there saying that he's 33, so he doesn't have the engine anymore. I mean, I don't know whether it's something that's pre-planned. I don't know whether it's saying, and you're saying your friend was there and Casemiro was signalling for the bench. Maybe, but the drop-off with and without Casemiro is severe. I'm guessing he went off because he had a little niggle, but it was Maguire went off, Casemiro went off, and is that when? Like, what is it? I was like trying to think about this. Like, you talk about leaders leaving the pitch. So, like, what happens in that? In what the players just don't know what to do anymore. Like, all of a sudden, because they haven't got Maguire or Casemiro to look towards, they've completely lost their focus and concentration levels. Like, in that period, in like the 10 minutes before Spurs scored, I mean, let's be honest, most of the second half, but in particular, there was like a period where United was second to every duel. Every time the ball was like in the air, Spurs were first to it. They were more aggressive than United were. We turned into a passive team. We knew we needed a midfielder in the summer. It's why we couldn't give the transfer window a 10 out of 10. Great overhaul in attack, and we are certainly scoring more goals, but we've got one clean sheet this season. One. That was against Sunderland at home. And going into that last 10 minutes of the game, it wasn't how I wanted that game to go. You'd always rather just be comfortable. But I don't even really think... Did United have any massive chances to make it 2-0? I'm trying to think. We didn't create a huge amount against Spurs. I'm going to go down here and see what you're saying in the chat. Alex saying it's not lack of accountability anymore, just lack of control. So many times I needed someone to put a foot on it, but we don't have that. You could argue that Mainu does that. Johnny saying agree with above. If Maguire stays on, we win that game. Maybe it was Maguire that. Either way, that is not just. That's not just a pattern here. I know Sesko had that chance, but it was 1-1 at that time. You're talking about the time that he got put through by Mount. So that wasn't an opportunity to make it 2-0. Did he have another opportunity? That I'm not sure. But this here isn't just a pattern. That's 1st and 18th in the 2 second half. That is champions and relegated. It is quite literally the two extremes. That's how good we are in first halves. That's how shit we are in second halves, lads. What's going on upstairs? What's going on in your heads? What's causing this? Of course, the resilience was there. And for United, I'll be honest, for United too, from that situation that we were in, to come and get a point with 10 men, we were playing at the last 10 minutes because Sesko went off with an injury. We'll speak about him. It was quite impressive. It's resilient. 3 games now away from home. Our last 3 consecutive away games, really. Liverpool concede in the 77th minute in front of the Kop, go on to win it. Forest concede 2 in 5 minutes, go on to draw and nearly win it. Spurs concede 2 in 7, come back right at the end with a set piece right at the death. And by the way, Senny definitely distracted. I'm not sure what defender was trying to mark him, but definitely distracted that defender because De Ligt then towered up at the back post. And we'll speak about De Ligt next. That's what I mean. You can take the positives in the 5 undefeated and the resilience that we are showing. And at the same time, you can speak about just the elephant in the room of, my word, lads. Learn how to see out a game of football. You're doing the hard work. You're nailing the first half. But apparently not, because that hard work, clearly for you, comes in that second half. Typical United. But this is a United that still is growing, is stumbling. As Ruben said after the game itself, we're in the beginning, I think he said. Let me see what you're saying down here. Banley saying it's a combination of everything. Spurs got a lucky goal and they got their tails up. United lost their leaders quickly and lost a man. Yeah. It had to be a bloody deflection, didn't it? I couldn't complain too much about the deflection because, Casemiro got one against Brighton. Liverpool hit the bar or post 3 times against us. We've had a little bit of luck. But of course it bloody had to be a deflection. And you're saying just felt a little bit of head loss. Or felt a bit headless, sorry. Cunha and Bruno both holding possession too long and losing it. Mount helped coming on. We need a tempo master. I don't even think it's just the tempo thing. I think it's almost a little bit of a contrast towards what is quite a direct and transitional style of play that we're building now under Ruben Amorim, and also what the Premier League is doing. Like, you look at City against Liverpool, that's how they're being built. They've got the focal point of Haaland, and they are built for quick transitions. They don't really need to have the ball loads anymore. Like, possession for the sake of possession is not really what the game is anymore. It's about direct transitional football, but at the same time, City can also play it through the middle. And the central progression still is not quite there. And to go back to it again, and this isn't Amorim, as I said, it's not Amorim digging out De Ligt, but he's saying, when we reach a good point, it's actually going to be the three centre-backs who do that a lot of the time, rather than the midfielders, because the midfield can be quite busy, but the three centre-backs will always be available. And if you play them high enough, they kind of operate a little bit like midfielders. And if they're brave enough, they can play those central balls to cut teams open. That's the end game. And I really hope that Martinez is fit soon. Let's speak about De Ligt. What are you saying down here? We lack consistency through the 90 minutes. Yeah, we do. On the whole, we're seeing progress as Aiden. He's made positive moves, so we've got to be happy. It's small tweaks in my eyes, and we lost these games. Yeah, we definitely would have lost those games last year. We need a new Scholes? Nah. If I was to say the exact midfielder that we need, it's Michael Carrick. That's who we need. Hence why. The Adam Morton video, by the way, will be coming out. I'll tell you some plans for the videos this week. We've got a little profile video on Adam Morton's season so far with Crystal Palace. That'll be going out. We're also going to have a couple of special player videos. One on De Ligt, because I think he deserves one. Have a conversation about him. Probably one on Casemiro. Have a conversation about him too. And then we might get a little video, maybe reviewing the season so far, the progress, the questions that we still need to ask. But these are going to be coming out during international break. Davy's saying if Ineos has some sense, they will see they have a chance of Champions League football. And considering how tight the league is, a midfielder is a must in Jan. And we'll speak about the transfer window. But De Ligt himself, right? That was a beast of a goal. Well, beast of a header anyway. Proper salmon leap at the back post. Towering header right into the top corner. Keeper's not saving it. It was a class header. And again, you're allowed to celebrate the fact that United came back and were resilient to gain that point, and be annoyed and frustrated at the fact that we really should have taken 3 at the same time. But for De Ligt himself, believe he's the only Manchester United, he's the only Man United player to play every minute so far this season in the league. He's getting better and better, isn't he? What's your take on his season so far? I said we're going to do a video on him a little bit later this week. Do you think we will make top 4, says Aloysius? Dude, I think the opportunity's right there. I think whichever team pulls it together between, as I said, we're going to go back to the table. Whichever team, that's a shame. Where's the results gone? Is it there? I think Arsenal and City, they're set for the top 2. Whichever teams out of United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Spurs, I think. I think it's going to be those 4. 2 of those teams are going to make those 3rd and 4th positions. And that can easily be United. Easily can be United if we just get our act together and we start seeing games out. John, you're saying De Ligt's been awesome. Zhao, you're saying he's been massive thus far. Radu's saying he should be our captain. I still think that he could be our captain in the future. Alex saying he's been very good. I find it hard to work out how he conceded 18 goals and he's been that good. It's kind of a fair point, really. How can we praise a centre-back, a defender that much when we're conceding so many goals? Doesn't really feel like he's been directly responsible. Yeah, Bournemouth might be in that hunt. I don't particularly think that Villa will be in that hunt. That's just a personal opinion on how I think their season's going to pan out. I don't think it's going to work out. Might be wrong. To be fair, they did just spank Bournemouth 4-0, so that's a head of a result. But Delict. This is Laurie Whitwell. Well, it's not Laurie Whitwell. It's Amorim speaking after the game, reported by Laurie Whitwell, saying that I think a lot of United fans are asking why he wasn't in that group. Like 6 players. Was it Bruno, Mazraoui, Maguire? Who else was in there? Casemiro? I can't remember. But he wasn't in there. But he's leading by example, isn't he? I think it's just good to see. Really is good to see. Because I've got a lot of time for him. Yeah, Francis, you're saying Dane's a good guy. Yeah, I'm just enjoying it. I'm enjoying watching. Oh, yeah, Tom Heaton, that was one of them. Tom Heaton, who... Has he even been in a matchday squad this season, Tom Heaton? He's basically the new Lee Grant, isn't he? Who I was just convinced was a painter decorator at Carrington. I think that's all he did. Yes, Ronald, I did see Harry Mass's goal. We'll speak about Harry a little bit later in the show. Got his first goal for Sheffield Wednesday. Very nice. The best centre-back in the Prem right now? Certainly one of them. Now, unfortunately, let's move on to speak about... What is your take on Sesko's cameo from that game then? We're going to have a conversation about that missed opportunity, but he went off with a knee injury. Amorim said he's concerned, and this is a video of him leaving the stadium. Limp, drag. I'm not laughing at him limping, but he's obviously not going to go away with Slovenia in the international break. He'll stay at Carrington. He'll rehab. But I imagine that's him missing for a little bit. I imagine so. And you're saying that Martinez's return would ensure top 4 if he stays fit? I'm not sure I would go as far as saying that it's guaranteed that we get top 4 if Martinez comes back and he's fit. I can't remember where that reference is from. Limp drag. Someone tell me. Mick is saying, how concerned should we be about it? We don't know whether it's precautionary, but Ruben Amorim's worried. So I wanted to ask you, like, my personal take on that chance when he got put through by Mason Mount is a confident Sesko just lets that run across his body and just hits it with his left foot. The only reason that Van der Ven was given an opportunity to come and make that tackle was because Sesko took a touch with his right foot and gave him the chance to slide in. It was a good tackle. All credit to him. It was a good tackle. But I think he gets a shot away. Does he score? I don't know. Ola, you're saying if Xerxes got any drive, there has to be an opportunity that he takes. As long as it doesn't end up with Cunha playing centre forward. I really don't want to see that. But I know it worked against Liverpool, but that's because we didn't really play with a centre forward. It was every single ball we were playing for the second balls in that game. And it actually did work. I'm still not worried. Maybe I'm just going to be patient with him because he's a younger player, etc., etc. But I actually think prior to maybe the last couple of games, I think he's actually been playing quite well. Rofi saying, why didn't we play more crosses into the box? Dude, I've been saying that all season. I don't know why United aren't crossing as more. I'm not saying that as a consequence of the fact that Mbeumo scored, but I just don't know why we're not swinging more balls into the box with the players that we've got. We should be. I don't know. Mount up front before Xerxes? I wonder what's going to happen with Xerxes. I really do. So I'm honestly not even sure that a Sesko injury is going to see him start that many games for United. I think Amorim would rather look at other alternatives before he looks towards Xerxes. That's just the way it's gone this season. XO saying he's done well so far. Bad last game. Not a finished product yet, but he's doing fine. Can we talk about Cunha's carrying ability is slowly becoming a liability? He prefers to beat 4 players at a time rather than passing to one free teammate. I definitely don't think that's going to be considered a liability, man. Decision making, well, maybe that's got to improve. But there's absolutely no way that you're going to get me into an argument that Cunha's ball carrying is actually a liability now, when all I've been wanting really is ball carries in this football team. No, I'm not going to be arguing that. Maybe sometimes he needs to get his head up, and maybe sometimes he needs to involve his team a little bit more. But someone down there saying growing pains, I don't know. Maybe it's coming from being the best player at Wolves and having to do it all yourself and etc. I've got no... I don't think Cunha is having as much impact as Mbeumo right now on this team. And that's because Mbeumo is Premier League Player of the Month and scoring in 4 out of 5 games. He's absolutely banging form. But yeah, Sesko. Now, I don't know whether that injury to Sesko might lead to this. Was that one there? January, an AFCON. Amorim after the game saying that we have to check everything, check what's happened with Sesko. Let's see when the window is open, if we can improve the team, trying to repair something that has happened. Until then, we'll have to take the chance. But, and I'm not saying this to be negative and pour cold water on it. I just don't particularly see Man United getting the midfielder that we want to get in January. Because it's the World Cup, effectively, it's just a bad year in that sense for trying to sign quality players in January. Because if you're Crystal Palace and you've got Adam Wharton, and you're Nottingham Forest, and you've got Elliot Anderson, why on earth would you sell that player in January when you know that they're probably going to the World Cup in the summer and you know that probably their price is going to go up? Why would you do it? I wouldn't have Forest. I wouldn't have Palace. Unless United come in with an insane offer, which I don't think we will. We won't pay over the odds. So I think it's very unlikely that we get Elliot Anderson or Adam Wharton in January. Carlos Baleba, maybe that's a conversation. Maybe that's who United go for. I don't quite know that yet. But I would not want United to buy a midfielder for the sake of buying a midfielder in January. Yeah, look, and I know you're talking about squad depth. I know you're talking about like, maybe sign a midfielder now who becomes a squad player. Yeah, I just do not think we'll sign that top-level, game-changing midfielder. Like, someone talking about João Gomez. I tried to look for where the sources of that will come from, but they are just... I don't know how that's being covered anywhere else. It's like, I think it's team talk. He's not even whiffy. It's like a Chinese whisper of a transfer rumour. That's what it is at this moment in time. Someone speaking about Conor Gallagher. I believe that Atletico Madrid only wanted to sell him fully rather than loan him. I think that's all United could possibly really try and find is like a 6-month loan deal somewhere. I wouldn't be... Would I be angry? I would think it's a completely wrong strategy to go out and spend 30, 40 million on a midfielder. He's going to be a good midfielder. He's probably going to improve our midfield. But that's not ultimately the top-level target that we want. I'd much rather us wait for the second half of the season and sign that player in the summer, if it means we then get someone like Elliot Anderson or Adam Wharton, rather than someone who's a little bit more mid, because we can actually get him in January. I think United will try and attack the loan market. We didn't do that with Matthias Tell last January, though. But I think that came with a massive loan fee. It's a huge loan fee and an obligation on it too. So effectively, you're signing it on a permanent deal. Asek, you're saying Wilcox has said they won't be looking for short-term signings, and nor do I think we need. Well, that's a lie. We need to, but we shouldn't. I think those two things are right at the same time. So it's going to be interesting to see what United actually do in January. And maybe it's a video that we need to do. We need to do some research. Me and the United People's TV team. What midfielders are there in world football who United might have an opportunity to sign on loan? Like, which players in these teams haven't really had too much of a sniff and probably want to play at the World Cup? Effectively, what you kind of want to try and find is, well, you can argue that sod that, just play copy. But that's clearly not going to happen. Not in this current setup and not with Bruno Fernandes playing every game. But I suppose we kind of need to find a Cobby at another club. Or a player who's in a similar sort of situation at their club, but also from a profile perspective, maybe ticks more of the box of what Ruben Amorim wants right now. But, I'm dead worried about Cobby and what happens with him. I'll be totally honest. I think that he's Bruno's replacement. Yeah, I think if we keep him for the second half of this season, and especially even more so if we bring someone else in on loan and then play him ahead of Cobby, I think he's going to be like, I think he's going to rub his hands, wash his hands of United and move on in the summer. I think he's going to think, nah, man, I'm not doing this anymore. Right, we're sitting down here. Neves on loan. Where's he playing out in Saudi? He's out in Saudi, isn't he? Bring in the under-21s rather than short-term. Sesko Kone might have been part of the conversation if he hadn't missed 2-3 months through a fractured eye socket. It's going to be difficult for him. Who else could you? You got Jack Fleck. Nah, Jack Fleck's not going to be the answer either. Look, let's move on. What else have we got to speak about? I didn't mention this in the game, or after the game, sorry. I actually thought Dorgu played quite well against Spurs, all things considered. I think he's had a very up and down season so far. And I've criticised him. I criticised him against Brighton when he made that silly mistake when he came off the bench and then we conceded. Another game in the second half where United obviously won that game. But I actually thought Dorgu played quite well. Had he not got that yellow card, would he have been taken off for Delo? Maybe not. I don't quite know. But fair play to him. I said, if you're going to criticise players after games, I think you should say, well done when they put in a decent performance. And I don't think he pulled up trees against Spurs. I don't think he was man of the match. But I actually thought he had a pretty good game. Improved. That's what I would call it. Someone talking about Senny. Again. Man. It's just good, isn't it? When he made those saves, I was screaming. I was fist pumping. Quite a few of you agree with me down there about how much more improved Dorgu did look. I think he did. Obviously, he'll go on the international break with Denmark. He'll come back. I think Dorgu's very reflective of Manchester United right now. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit. Sometimes it may be good in the first half. Actually, no, very good in the first half. And then second half, inconsistent. Dorgu's very reflective of Manchester United right now. This guy's not, though. Senny's just still undefeated. We haven't lost since he's been in goal. Long may that record continue. But he made two really important saves. Oh, straight at him. Yeah, cool. First one, to kick his leg out and get that ball off rather than just like dribbling straight back out in front of him, was a good save. And the same with the second one. Parry was in the right place, the right direction. Just two good saves. Could he have done anything for the first goal? Absolutely bloody not. It was a deflection. That's like Stretch Armstrong. You're not saving that one. And the second one, still felt like it was even a bit of a deflection from me. Did Richarlison mean it? Maybe. Maybe not. Jack is saying we've got a chance to get in Champions League this year with him in goal. And everything feels a little bit more possible now that we've got a goalkeeper who's not thrown the ball in his own net 24/7. That feels good. Now, I'm going to pull this up, right? Probably going to do a video on this at some point during the international break. This might seem a bit confusing to you. Let me explain it. These are the next 10 fixtures in the Premier League for all these teams. The colours mean if it's green, on paper, it's the easiest game. If it's grey, it's an all right game. Average. If it's red, it's difficult. If it's dark red, it's the hardest game. So Arsenal away down there is the hardest game. And you can see that Manchester United's next 10 games, right there in the middle. Everton at home, green. Palace away, grey. Green, green. No game in our next 10 games as any of these. We've got on paper the best set of 10 fixtures out of any team. In the same way that on paper, Man United had the hardest start to the Premier League season. And how many bloody times have we said this before? But Manchester United have got an opportunity to take advantage of this. Yeah, John, I'm not saying that every single game is easy there by any stretch of the imagination. Palace away, don't like the look of that. Aston Villa away on 20th. Depends on where they're at. You've also got Leeds away in there, which is United against Leeds. So I'm not sure how they got down as a grey. I think there's a couple of games on there I'd probably change colours of them, if I'm being completely honest. But compared to the 10 fixtures we've just had, where we have played every single team above us in the table apart from Villa, everybody in the top 8 apart from Villa, we've played so far. So by comparison, that is a good run for United to go on. Does it mean that we're going to turn it all around? We'll find out. I say turn it all around. We were undefeated in 5. If United can continue that through these games, we're going to be... Random question here, prediction-wise. Where do you think United are going to be at Christmas? Right now, we're 7th. We're 7th. Right? Where do you think United are going to be on Christmas Day? I think we're going to be in the top 4. That's going to be my prediction. I think we're going to be 4th. John, you're going 6th. Steve, you're going 5th. Paul and hands up for the Panther. 6th. And you're saying top 4. Neil, you're saying 2nd. Alex is saying if United are where they are right now, then I'll take that. Lionel, welcome to the squad, dude. I see you join as a member. I think top 4 is possible. 4th, especially with Martinez back. And you really do like Martinez. We're going to be 8th, someone says down there. I don't think we'll be 8th. I think top 4. But yeah, as I said, let me explain what the release schedule is for this week. So tonight, well, this lunchtime, standard lunchtime video. Not sure exactly what that's going to be on yet, but I'll get that out for you. 7 or 8 p.m. between that time, we're going to be dropping the podcast video version on the main channel. Then this week, we've got an Adam Wharton profile. This next 2 weeks, we've got an Adam Wharton sort of little mini doc. Going to have a little mini docs on Delict, on Casemiro. Now, if there's anything that any of you feel, Sam, that would be a really cool video if you could do that. Fire your ideas in at me at the Discord. You can tag me. And yeah, I'll always welcome your ideas. Make sure you stick around. I'll be here every single day during the international break, trying to cover the stories that are worth your time. And if I was going to have an overall feeling going into this international break, I'm pretty happy. I'm totally honest, I'm pretty happy. However, I can obviously spot United's weaknesses in the second half. That needs to be resolved. Because if we can continue what we're doing in the first half and sort that second half out, mate, we're going to might even win 5 in a row. Yeah, I might do a video on the January transfer window as well. I think that feels like the right time to have a conversation now, because this is the last international break, of course, before the January window even comes in. Video on how Amorim can make Cunha deliver in terms of goals. Yeah, Wharton videos coming up. But look, thank you all for tuning in. Can you please drop a like on the video if you're still here? I'll be here tomorrow morning, as always, at 10 a.m. I'll see you at lunch, and then at 7 p.m. Double drop day. Take it easy.